So we started a new chapter. It is chapter number 11 in 12th NCERT, Biotechnology Principles and Process. In the previous lecture, we covered restriction enzymes. Now, we'll cover the next part, that is separation, isolation and separation of the DNA. Now, in page number 197 in NCERT, page number 197, there is a figure 11.2. Now, it is the diagrammatic representation of rDNA technology. We will see that you will understand what is meant by isolation and separation of DNA fragments. So, figure number 11.2, what it is? Diagrammatic representation. It is diagrammatic representation of rDNA technology they have given. Diagrammatic representation of rDNA technology they have mentioned. Let us see what is the diagrammatic representation they have given. So, we know what are the steps of rDNA technology. Do you know what are the steps of rDNA technology? Let us write down here. The steps of rDNA technology. What are the steps of rDNA technology? The first step is isolation of the desired DNA. So, what is the DNA you are trying to introduce into the bacteria is your desired DNA, is the foreign DNA, it is the alien DNA. First isolate that DNA, that should be the first step. The first step should be isolation of foreign DNA. This is the first step. Now, after selecting the desired DNA, so means here we are, from this we are going to isolate our foreign DNA. How do we isolate it? We have a separate step, there we will see. Now, after isolating the foreign DNA, the second step is selection of vector. The second step will be selection of vector DNA. Now, in the diagram what they have given, they have taken plasmid as a vector. So, this also we will do a separate class. What are vectors, cloning vectors, that we will see. In our NCERT diagram, they have given us a plasmid vector in this manner. They showed us there is a plasmid DNA. We know plasmid DNA is circular double-stranded extra chromosomal genetic element. They showed it in this manner. So, what is this? This is a plasmid which is acting as a vector DNA. Here is our vector DNA and this is our desired DNA. They opened the, I will change the color so that it will be easy for us to understand. This desired DNA, they showed us in this manner. They showed us in this manner. Now, in this, we want only this particular fragment, okay? We want only this particular fragment which is called as foreign DNA. So, what is the third step? You isolated the foreign DNA, you selected the vector DNA. The third step will be restriction digestion of the foreign DNA also, plasmid DNA also with the same restriction enzyme. The third step, what is the third step I am telling? It is restriction digestion. Restriction digestion with the same restriction endonuclease. You have to digest this also with EcoR1 for example. Then you have to digest the plasmid DNA also with EcoR1. Then only you will have complementary sites so that you can join them very easily. So, shall I write there? The third step is restriction digestion. So, what is the third step? The third step is restriction digestion. With what are you doing restriction digestion? With restriction endonucleases. So, restriction digestion of the desired DNA whereas the vector DNA with the same restriction enzyme. Yeah, we are doing it now. So, when you do it, how do you get? So, the plasmid DNA, when you digest it, it will open in this manner it seems. You opened the DNA. When you cut it with restriction enzyme, it opened like this. Then, what happens to the vector DNA? The vector DNA, it goes this way. Sorry, this is the desired foreign DNA. It opens in this manner and you digested here, right? This is the red colored region you want. Means you have digested the enzyme here. Then this gets separated, Amma. This gets separated. This is a separate fragment. This is a separate fragment. After doing restriction digestion, these are the DNA fragments you got. So you got one fragment, the second fragment, third fragment, and this is the plasmid DNA. Now come on, tell me, what do you want here? Do you want this green colored DNA and this green colored DNA also, or you want only the red colored gene which later you are going to introduce here? Correct? So you will take only this one. You will take only this one and we will try to insert it here. That means we don't want this one and this one. For that, what we need to do? We need to go with a separation technique. We need to go with a separation technique. In that separation technique, which is called gel electrophoresis, we will try to separate only this much particular DNA. So they did not show us in NCERT, but then we can write here what is the technique called? Separation technique. We have to do a separation technique. What is the name of the separation technique? I am telling it is called as gel electrophoresis technique. When you do gel electrophoresis, after this I am going to do that technique only. When we do the gel electrophoresis, particularly the which DNA you want, you can separate it. Okay, you got it, right? Then what is your next step? You are going to join this with this. What is that called? Fourth step, we'll write it here. After restriction digestion, we'll do gel electrophoresis, right? We'll do gel electrophoresis. After doing gel electrophoresis, we'll separate the DNA fragments. We'll separate the DNA fragments. What is gel electrophoresis? It's a technique to separate the DNA fragments. After that, we'll join this with this, right, children? So the next step will be DNA ligation. With DNA ligase enzyme, we are bringing DNA ligase enzyme and we are asking the enzyme to join this here. So when you join, what happens? When you join that green colored DNA here, it gets joined in this manner, right? So it got joined. Now what is this called? This is a normal vector DNA in which your desired DNA is also there. So can we call it as rDNA vector? Recombinant DNA vector? Yes, you got recombinant DNA vector with the help of DNA ligase enzyme. So then what is the next step I should write there? DNA ligation. The fifth step will be DNA ligation. When you do DNA ligation, what did you get? Recombinant DNA vector. So we got an rDNA vector. We got rDNA vector. So this rDNA vector is now sent into the host. Who is the host? Bacteria is the host. So what is that technique we use to send the rDNA to the host? Transformation. So we will do a technique called transformation. Slowly you will understand in the next classes what is transformation. When we do transformation, then the bacterial cell will take the DNA. The bacterial cell will take the DNA. So in NCERT, they showed us like this. It has taken the DNA. Right? NCERT, they showed us this is a bacterial cell which has received the DNA transformation. And suppose if it is an E. coli cell. Now E. coli multiplies in every 20 minutes. So after 20 minutes, this bacteria will do binary fission and it will make 2 daughter cells. Now in the 2 daughter cells also your DNA gets multiplied. Means it is inherited into its daughter cells also, they are telling. Means the DNA is getting amplified. The DNA what you have given is getting amplified and it is sent into the daughter progeny also. It is sent into the daughter progeny also. So in this manner, whenever the bacteria is multiplying, then your DNA is also getting multiplied. Here you are having 1 copy, now you had 2 copies. Then from here again, from this bacteria, after 20 minutes you will get 2 more bacteria. From this again you will get 2 more bacteria, isn't it? So that means after 40 minutes, 2 bacteria will become 4 bacteria. Then your DNA copies also will become 4 DNA copies. Means this is what is rDNA technology all about, where we are trying to amplify and produce as many copies of the desired DNA. That is why this is also called gene cloning. So in gene cloning, the same gene is cloned 2 copies. The same gene is cloned. It is cloned 4 copies, right? So that's why rDNA technology is also called gene cloning. So we are here itself, while writing the steps, we told DNA ligation. When you do DNA ligation, you will get a recombinant DNA vector. The next step will be sending the recombinant DNA vector into the host. So what is the sixth step here? The sixth step is introducing the rDNA into host cell. Introducing the rDNA into host cell. This is a rDNA molecule. This is step number 6. Then we introduced it into the host cell. Now when we introduce into the host cell might take it, might not take it also. Then we will do one small technique called selection or screening to identify whether the host cell has taken it or not. So seventh step will be selection. Seventh step will be selection to select the recombinant bacteria. In selection, what are we doing? We are taking such type of bacteria in which the rDNA is there. Selection is done to pick recombinant host. We will pick the recombinant host. We will see whether the host is having the recombinant DNA or not. We will take it. Then after taking that, the next step, what is the next step? We will take it in a big bioreactor and produce it in a large scale. One bacteria we are not happy. 2 bacteria also will not cater your needs. 4 bacteria also will not cater your needs. You want it in a large scale, right? So then you need a big bioprocessor, fermenter, bioreactor, which will be the last page of the chapter. Okay. So that will be our last lecture. So after selection, after picking the host, we need to do bioprocessing. So the 8th step will be bioprocessing. We'll multiply it, and at the end you'll collect everything, you'll purify it, you'll formulate it, you'll pack it, and then you will sell it. All this comes under downstream processing. So the last step will be downstream processing. The last step is downstream processing. I tried to explain all the topics of biotechnology chapter under these 9 steps. Don't worry, we are going to do one by one step in detail, right? So this they told 11.2 figure, page number 197, figure 11.2, they told this is a diagrammatic representation of rDNA technology. Here it is. Take the desired DNA or foreign DNA. Second step, that's called isolation of the foreign DNA. Second step is selection of the vector. So we selected plasmid as a vector. That is our second step. If this is the first step, selection of the vector will be the second step. Third step is restriction digestion with restriction endonucleases. So this is our third step. When you digest the foreign DNA and the plasmid DNA with a restriction enzyme, you get the fragments. Plasmid has opened up and this DNA got converted into 1, 2, 3 fragments in which we want only this fragment. For that, we need to do separation technique, which is called gel electrophoresis. That I will do it in this class. So doing gel electrophoresis will be the fourth step. After doing gel electrophoresis, we are able to pick only this particular fragment. After picking this particular fragment, we will do ligation. We will try to join this one with the plasmid DNA using an enzyme called DNA ligase. Then we will get a recombination DNA, which is called recombinant DNA vector. Then that is DNA ligation is the fifth step. Yeah, write down here, this is the fifth step. After that, recombinant DNA vector is sent into the host. What is that called? Transformation. That is the sixth step. Introducing the rDNA into the host cell. This is the sixth step. When you send it into the host, for example, I am taking a class, right? So some students will attend the class, some students will not attend the class also, isn't it? So that means some bacteria will participate in transformation, they'll take the rDNA. Whereas some bacteria will not participate in transformation, they'll not take the recombinant DNA also. So which one you want? The bacteria which is having the recombinant DNA vector you want, or the one which is not participated, which did not take the vector you want? We don't want that bacteria, we want only this bacteria, right? So then you have to do selection or screening. That is the next step. So here I wrote seventh step is selection. In selection, what we will do? Specifically, we will pick the host in which recombinant DNA is there. We will take that. That will be the seventh step. So we have selected it. The next step is bioprocessing. We don't want 2, 4 or 8 bacteria. We want it in bulk scale. Gallons of sample we want, right? For that, you need to process it. You need to culture it in a big bioreactor. So that is called bioprocessing. When you do bioprocessing, at the end of the day, we'll collect everything, we'll purify it, we'll filter it, we will formulate it. So that is called downstream processing. Children, all these are the steps of biotechnology, and this picture is there in the NCERT textbook. As I told, today we are going to talk about separation technique, gel electrophoresis. If you want, take a screenshot, then we will talk about gel electrophoresis. Right. Now, can I go to gel electrophoresis? You know who developed the technique gel electrophoresis? Now, from this lecture, you understood that gel electrophoresis is a separation technique. Gel electrophoresis is a separation technique. And do you know who developed this technique? There's a scientist called Tiselius. Okay. In the year 1937, he developed this technique of gel electrophoresis. First, we will write and then we will proceed. So, Tiselius in the year 1937. What is that technique? First, we will write down separation and isolation. Separation and isolation of DNA fragments is our today's topic, children, which is there under separate side heading in NCERT. You can check it. I think it will be there in page number 198. This is our topic. Now, for separation technique, what are we using? Our separation technique is gel electrophoresis. What is the separation technique? I told it is gel electrophoresis, right? Children, what is the name of the technique? Gel electrophoresis. And just now I told who developed this technique? A. Tiselius in the year 1937. So the technique was developed by, A. Tiselius in the year 1937, right? Just now you have seen. So when we digest, when we cut the DNA with the restriction enzymes, it results in the fragments, right? It results in DNA fragments. So when do we do it? When we cut the DNA. When we cut the DNA with what? With restriction enzymes, it results in fragments of DNA. We are getting different fragments of DNA. This is how the NCERT starts the topic. When you cut the DNA with restriction enzymes, it results in fragments of DNA. Then these fragments should be separated out by a technique called gel electrophoresis, it says. So, it tells like these fragments. I showed you diagrammatically also in the previous board. We digested and we got green color DNA and the red color DNA, right? So, these fragments are separated by, the fragments are separated by a technique. What is the technique called? By a technique called, I'll write GE, gel electrophoresis. The fragments are separated by a technique called gel electrophoresis, which was developed by a scientist I wrote here. His name is Tiselius in the year 1937. Now, how does the technique works? Let us discuss, right? So, for this, what you need to do? What you need to do is take a agarose gel, right? So, we need to take a solid matrix. We need to take a solid matrix or solid medium, for which we will choose a polysaccharide. We need to prepare a solid matrix, children. We are going to choose a polysaccharide. What is that polysaccharide? It's called gel electrophoresis, no? Gel means agarose gel electrophoresis. What are we taking? Which polysaccharide have we chosen? Agarose. we have chosen agarose as a polysaccharide to prepare a solid matrix. And if you remember, second chapter biological classification, there in red algae, we will tell there are two red algae called Gelidium and Gracilaria, from which we extract agar-agar. So red algae, which are called as seaweeds, from that algae we extract agar-agar. From that we extract this agarose. So this agarose, what is it? It is extracted from seaweeds. What are the seaweeds called? They are red algae, red algal cell wall, you know. Red algal cell wall outside is made up of polysulfate esters like agar and agarose. Inner layer is made up of cellulose, but outer layer of red algae is made up of agar. From there we will extract agarose gel, right? So if you want the names also, we can write Gelidium and Gracilaria are the names of the red algae from which we extract the agar powder. Now bring the agar powder, dissolve it in a buffer. Bring the powder, dissolve it in a buffer solution and then heat it. So when you heat it, what happens? It will become jelly-like. So after it gets jelly-like, now bring a tray. Take a tray and then pour the gel in the tray. So this is the tray which they have showed it in NCERT. So in this tray, pour the gel and allow the gel to settle. Okay, allow the gel to settle, cool it. Now, before cooling, what you need to do, for example, if this is a tray, in this tray, when we pour the gel, at some places we don't want the gel to be there. So I'll bring a comb, comb here, we have teeth there on the comb. In the same manner, comb will be there. Bring the comb, my fingers are like comb. So I'll insert the fingers here. Where and all my fingers are there, their wells will be created. Gel will not be there. In the same manner, so what will we do here also? Here I'm creating wells, Amma. So one well, another well, another well and another well. So I created wells here, okay. I created wells here. Wells are the places where you have kept the comb. So the place where the comb is there, their gel will not be there. A space will be created. That space is called well. Okay. Now this whole part is the agarose gel. What is this whole part? Agarose gel, which acts as a solid matrix. Now label these wells as 1, 2, 3, 4 wells, like that you can label. Okay. Now load your DNA samples. That green colored sample, red colored samples are there, no? Now load those samples. When you load the samples, so we have loaded in these wells, okay, this well, this well, this well, this well, we loaded. Now this gel is now completely loaded. What we need to do now? Now keep it in gel electrophoresis chamber. Now keep the gel in gel electrophoresis chamber, and in this gel electrophoresis chamber, so here you have one electrode, here you have one electrode, and here you will have another electrode, right? Here you will have one electrode and here you will have another electrode. Now near to the wells, the electrode which is there is called cathode. What is this electrode called? This is called cathode, and this electrode is called as anode. This electrode is called anode. Now take two electrodes and then connect both of them with the electric field. We'll have some buffer solution here. And the buffer should not evaporate. For that reason, I'll take a lid and I'll close the container. And I'm connecting both the electrodes to the electric field. I'm just connecting it to the circuit. I'm closing the circuit. I'm passing electricity from this electrode to this electrode. Now, when you pass electricity from this electrode to this electrode, now what happens? Here are the gel, agarose gel is there, and here is your DNA sample. Now, when you remember, DNA is a polynucleotide made up of sugar, phosphate and a nitrogen base. So, sugar doesn't have any charge, but phosphoric acid, children, H3PO4, phosphate, PO4 minus 2, it has a negative charge, right? Means DNA as such has which charge? DNA has negative charge, right? So negatively charged particles, what are they called? Anions. Negatively charged particles are anions. Now, where did you load your anion DNA? We loaded our anionic DNA here. We loaded our anionic DNA here, right? So, this is a place where we loaded our DNA sample. And DNA, what charge it is having? DNA is having negative charge. This is the negatively charged DNA. Why it is having negative charge? Because of the presence of the phosphate group, it is having negative charge. Now, negatively charged particles means what are they called? Anions. Negatively charged particles are called anions. Anions, they move towards anode, right? Anions, they move towards anode. So that is why you have loaded your DNA at the cathode. So, and they move towards anode. That means what is gel electrophoresis? You are separating the particles by placing them in an electric field. Which type of particles get separated in gel electrophoresis? Charged particles only will get separated. DNA, is it having charge? Yes, it is having charge. What charges DNA is having? Negative charge. Which component of the DNA brings the negative charge? Phosphate moiety gives the negative charge. Negatively charged particles, what are they called? Anions. So, anions, they move towards anode. So, that is why the DNA is loaded at cathode. DNA is loaded in the wells are near cathode and it starts moving towards anode. So, separation of the particles, when you place them in electric field, gel is a solid material on which the DNA will move now. So, that is called gel. Which gel? Agarose gel. From where did you extract? From the cell wall of the red algae we extracted. Now, you are creating an environment by providing electric field, by providing electrodes, and electrodes are provided, then the charged particles start moving. You understood? Porosis. Pores. What is meant by pores? See, agar, when we see the cross section of the agar gel, so agar beads will be there, right? So, these are the beads of the agar. So, they swell, they take the buffer solution and they swell and they arrange like this. Now, can you see the porosity? These are the pores. Through the pores, DNA can neatly get separated out. So, the DNA gets separated. It's moving based on the electric field and it's passing, that's called sieving effect. This is called sieving effect. What is sieving effect? Moving through the pores is called as sieving effect. So, which type of DNA can move fast? Smaller DNA can move fast or the bigger DNA will move fast? Now, through these tiny sieves, through these tiny pores, this way, through these tiny pores, if the DNA is smaller, it can move faster. If the DNA is bigger, you know, it will also move, but it will take some time. If there's a bigger DNA, the bigger DNA moving through the pores, it will take some time. But if the DNA is small, it can easily pass. Separation is done based on its size. Smaller DNA separates faster. Smaller DNA will get separated towards the anode. Bigger DNA takes some time and it will be somewhere after the cathode but not near the anode. Like that it will be there. So, like that the DNA gets separated. So, that is why the technique is called gel electrophoresis. Gel means the solid matrix. Electro, since you have subjected it to an electric field and you are keeping two electrodes, it's called electroporo. Through the pores, they are giving, the agar gel is giving pores, it is giving sieving effect. So, the separation is based on its size only. Small size DNA fragments move fast, come towards anode. Big size DNA fragments still take time to move. Porosity, separation. Ris means separation. This is what is gel electrophoresis. NCERT, they show that in the lane 1, this is lane 1, well 1, lane 2, lane 3, lane 4. In the lane 1, to show us, they will take an undigested DNA. Means the DNA which is not digested with a restriction enzyme, which is not having fragments, is a big DNA. Big DNA will not move much. It will be here itself. And there are no fragments, only one fragment. It is here, near to the cathode only. In lane 2, 3, 4, what they will show? If in lane 1, if they are showing undigested DNA, in lane 4, they are showing us completely digested DNA. In lane 4, they will show us, this is the digested DNA. So, they will show the thickness. So near towards the cathode, the bands will be little thicker. And as you move down, as you are going down, as you are coming down, so they will make it very thin. What is this they're showing? This is a bigger DNA. It's still at cathode. So little smaller DNA moved more. Little smaller DNA still moved. Smaller DNA is here. So what is this they're showing us? Direction of movement, right? So can I write here? What is this? This is the direction of movement. Direction of movement is from cathode to anode. Bigger DNA at the cathode, smaller DNA at the anode. And lane A contains undigested DNA. Lane 4 contains completely digested DNA. Whereas lane 2 will contain fragments like this way. Lane 2. Lane 3 also will have some bands like this. So since you digest the DNA, fragments are obvious. The fragments get separated in this way. The fragments get separated in this way, right? But then pure DNA is colorless. All of us know that. Pure DNA is colorless, but I am using red color. Means gel is also transparent. DNA is also transparent. Now can you visualize them like this? Can you visualize them like this? We can't see it. We can't see it unless and until it is stained. Okay. So then what is the stain we use to visualize the DNA? So we need to take a fluorescent stain. We need to take a fluorescent stain, and the name of the fluorescent stain, children, it is ethidium bromide. Ethidium bromide. After the DNA gets separated, so stain the DNA bands with ethidium bromide, which is a fluorescent stain. Ethidium bromide is a fluorescent stain. So when you stain the DNA with ethidium bromide, which is a fluorescent stain cannot be seen in visible light. So it gets exposed in UV light. So then stain it with ethidium bromide and expose the gel to UV light. Expose the gel to UV light. Stain the DNA fragments with a stain called ethidium bromide and then expose the gel to the UV light. When you expose the gel to the UV light, you can see bright orange color bands. I have red color, so that's why I have used red. So, but then when you see, bright orange color bands are viewed under UV background. So, we can see bright orange colored bands, children. Bright orange colored bands are visible. They are visible in which background? In UV background. So, you will see them like this. In UV light, in UV chamber, you will see them like this. After this, what we need to do? We need to separate the bands which got separated. So, cut them off, right? So, the separated bands of the DNA, we will use black only. The separated bands of DNA are cut from the gel. Now these are the bands, right? This one, all these are the bands. We need to cut them out from the gel, right? Cut them out from the gel. Okay, this process is called elution. So separating the DNA fragments, cutting from the gel. What is this step called? Elution. What is elution? Cutting this much fragment of DNA and taking it out. Bringing it out from the gel is called as elution. So when you elute it out, then you got your DNA in a purified form. Then this DNA fragment, you got it right? This DNA fragment which you eluted. This DNA fragment which you have eluted. Now this is combined with the vector DNA. Now you got your DNA fragment. You got your DNA fragment in purified form. You got your DNA fragment in purified form. Now combine this DNA fragment with the vector, right? Here is a vector waiting, plasmid vector waiting. Now bring the DNA ligase. Give the DNA ligase, then what it will do? It will combine this DNA fragment with the vector DNA. then you will get a recombinant vector. Understood? This is all about gel electrophoresis. If you want, we will see once again. So gel electrophoresis, what it is a separation technique. It is a separation technique. So when should we do separation technique? In step 3. In step 2, you have done restriction digestion. After doing restriction digestion, the DNA bands of different sizes are formed. Then we need to separate out. Then we need a separation technique which is called gel electrophoresis. What is gel electrophoresis? It separates the bands basing on their size. Keep it in mind. It separates the DNA bands basing on the size. Okay. But it separates basing on the size because smaller particles move fast and bigger particles move slow. But which type of particles get separated? Since the whole equipment is in an electric field, only the electrically charged particles can move in electric field, right? So charged particles get separated basing on their size in gel electrophoresis technique. And this technique was developed by Taselius in the year 1937. DNA. Where should we load? We should load at the cathode. What charge the DNA has? Negative charge. Why? Because it has a phosphate group. Now load your DNA samples in the well and keep the gel in the electrophoresis apparatus, and the well is near the cathode. Then close the with a lid, close it and connect it to the circuit. Then current is passing through them. Then the charged particles start moving. The bigger particles take time to move, whereas the smaller DNA fragments move faster and they get separated towards the anode. Negatively charged particles are called anions. Anions start moving towards the anode. Now, after it gets separated out, so we can't see them in the gel because gel is transparent. DNA is also transparent. You need to stain it. What is the name of the stain we are using? It's ethidium bromide. Which type of stain it is? Fluorescent stain, which is visible only on UV light. So then stain the bands with the fluorescent stain and then keep it in a UV box and view it. So which color it gives? Bright orange color bands it gives. After visualizing it, you need to pick the fragment, right? So then cutting out the separated fragments from the gel is called elution. Elute it out. I did it. This fragment, I took it out. The purified fragment came out. Then this fragment is now combined with the plasmid DNA to obtain a recombinant vector. Hope in this lecture you clearly understood the separation and isolation of the DNA fragments and how to obtain a recombinant vector. In the next session, we will talk about cloning vectors. What are the characteristics of a cloning vectors? How did two scientists called Bolivar and Rodriguez constructed artificial plasmid? That and all we will discuss in the next class. Hope you enjoyed the lecture. If you like the content, like, share and subscribe to my channel. Thank you.